and welcome to this live stream. Today, I am trying out a new streaming platform that I am testing out for the first time. So, welcome as you come on in. Just let me know where you're coming from. I'd like to see who you are, where you're coming in from. I'm Kari Heron, and we're going to be sharing some information today. I have been facing very high blood pressure. The first time I had a high blood pressure was when I was pregnant with my son. This was 11 years ago. And I was able to keep myself from having going into preeclampsia by keeping my blood pressure controlled naturally. That was a lot easier back then. In December, just around right before Christmas, my blood pressure went sky high. And when I say sky high, I mean stroke level high, like 195 over 115. And I was forced to do something really drastic because this is untenable. Again, that's stroke level blood pressure levels. I'm here with you live today to talk about some of the things that I have done. I'm not going to be sharing everything because it would take hours upon hours upon hours. And this is going to be a short introduction. Over the past 2 days, I've been sharing some tips as to how I've been lowering my blood pressure. And this has been on my TikTok at Chef and Steward, as well as on Facebook for my Chef and Steward Facebook fan page. But here I wanted to come on live and to talk with you to see who's here, who's joining in. So again, I'm new to this software, new to the streaming platform, and no, I didn't go through and do an entire tutorial about it because then that would mean that it would be even further prolonging of doing the video. So what I'm here to do is just to talk. And I would like to see if you leave comments. So when you come on in, leave comments and I'll see how to bring them up as you do so. So in December, as I was saying to you, my blood pressure went sky high. When I say sky high, I mean like, whoa, scary stuff. And I did something immediately. I knew from before that when the blood pressure is that high, the first thing you need to do is just go completely prostrate. Just lie down. Literally just lie down on your back, don't move. Because that's one of the quickest ways to lower your blood pressure. So I started to go into immediate rest mode. Fortunately, I didn't have many bookings, so I was already not very busy. I wasn't happy about being busy, so probably that's why my blood pressure went up because I needed to be busy, if you know what I mean. It was the end of the year, and I needed to be able to pay some things. And so there was a lot of stress leading up to that point, which usually is the case with high blood pressure as well. So I literally had to, and the other thing that also contributed was that I put on a lot of weight in a short time. Last year, I actually lost 13 pounds initially, and then I put on 33 pounds because of stress. Cortisol and I are not friends. We are not friends. We are arch enemies, and cortisol is something that allows or causes, especially women, to put on a lot of weight, put on weight in the tummy and and all over. And this is not good because the cortisol also affects your insulin levels, and it heightens your or decreases your insulin sensitivity and increases insulin resistance. That's not good because all of these things are tied to your blood pressure. When cortisol is high and insulin is high, then your blood pressure is also going to be high. So I went on my back side, and I was lying down for a lot. In that time, I rested significantly. That's the main thing that you can do immediately. I also cut salt immediately as much as possible, and I started, um, before even doing things like exercise, I just really immediately had to lie down and get that down. And I also had garlic, raw garlic. Initially, I had it with honey because it was easier to have it with honey. I think I posted here in my shorts a video of how I made the honey, the garlic, chopped garlic actually. So it's minced garlic by with knife, and initially I had it with honey because that's how my mother taught me to do it years ago, as a treatment for a whole bunch of different things, including a cold. And so having it with honey makes it a lot easier to swallow because it is, the honey is like slippery and, it's just nice to swallow. And it's tasty as well. You don't chew it. You really don't want to chew it because this is really raw garlic. And so I did that. I also had a lot of this, my hibiscus tea, sorrel. And I made that without sugar, of course. And I'm going to come back and share with you different supplements that I've been taking and the benefits of each one. I didn't want to go through and lump them all together, but those are also significant. So even though I have not done medication, I have increased my supplements. Ironically, the supplements that I was normally on an everyday basis are those that would normally keep your blood pressure in check, but because I have been known to be an all or nothing girl. In other words, I do it all or I do absolutely nothing. When I'm on my A game, looking after my health, taking care of myself, then I'm in it to win it. I'm like boom, 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 boom on it. When I'm not, I'm not. And so I don't do some things. I just don't do anything. So one of the things that I stopped doing in towards the end of the year for the last 6 months of the year was not taking my supplements daily. So those supplements would have been the ones that would have also helped, including omega-3s, B vitamins, vitamin C. I take those all the time, as well as berberine to control blood sugar. I'm not diabetic, but I understand that a lot of diseases actually, especially metabolic diseases, run around and kind of like hinge on insulinity and hyperinsulinity and metabolic resistance due to insulin resistance. So controlling and dealing with blood sugar is a great way to get the body in health, in a healthful state. So blood pressure again is also linked to blood sugar. So I knew as well that in addition to watching my blood, the salts, I had to watch my blood sugar. In fact, I knew that watching my blood sugar was even more critical than watching my blood, than the salt intake rather. I also use pretty much good salts. So I use Himalayan pink salt usually, and I also switched over to using Celtic sea salt, which also has magnesium, and magnesium is also good for lowering your blood pressure, as is potassium. So it's said that high blood pressure is a potassium deficiency. Potassium, magnesium, and vitamin D deficiency. Oh, vitamin D is also one of those vitamins that I take all the time as well, because vitamin D, B vitamins, omega-3s, and vitamin C are a really good base of things to cover in addition to your regular multivitamins for health and wellness. They stabilize so many things in the body. So increasing my magnesium was important. Increasing my potassium was important. Before I switched out to keto, I had, because I'm supposed to be on keto really, but I just don't do it all the time, not to be very honest with you. Except I've done so since the beginning of the year. And I'll tell you what the results are in a little while if you stick around with me. So if you're here and you're suffering from high blood pressure and you want to hear more about this, type in the comments type pressure if you want to hear more of this content, because I found that sharing the things that I know has been helping a lot of people. And why am I here but to help? I'm here to feed you, to free you by feeding your body, your soul, your spirit, and your pocket. And we got to keep you alive and keep you well in order to do that. So I increased my magnesium, I increased my potassium. So I had green plantains, and you'll see a video here on YouTube as well as I posted it on Facebook as well with the plantain porridge. I also posted it on Instagram, and I'm everywhere at Chef and Steward. So if you should look for at Chef and Steward everywhere on all the platforms, you'll find me there. So that video of the plantain porridge, that plantain porridge video is also linked to a written and printable recipe, which you can also download and use. To make it low carb, of course, you could use stevia instead of sugar. I wasn't yet switched out come to keto, so I used sugar in that instance. If I were to do it now, even though it would not be keto, I would still use I would use liquid stevia in order to reduce the sugar, the carb intake, for it to be lower carbs. But green plantain porridge, I saw a real significant reduction when I had that with the garlic. And I also had my vitamins that I took same time. I also had my hibiscus that I took same time, and lying down and sleeping. Another thing that was really very critical was learning how to switch over to my parasympathetic nervous system, activating the vagus nerve. And how you do that? The vagus nerve, not Vegas, but not Vegas, but vagus nerve is connected to your brain, to your stomach, and it really has a very extensive reach in the body. And what you want to do is literally to get nitric acid in. You do that by taking longer breaths in. So here's a reason why smoking seems to calm people down. I used to smoke once in a blue moon for a little while. Yes, I did. And thank God, to God be the glory, I got delivered from that. And I used to, one of the things that really attracts people to smoking is the sense of feeling calm that people get. And it's an illusion. But the reason why you feel calm when you smoke is because you're taking long breaths in, you're holding it, and taking long breaths out. That's really what calms you down in smoking. It's not the actual smoking itself. Smoking actually kills. It literally does. So what you want to do with that, and this is the reason why people go into all sorts of new age practices. I also used to engage in the new age, but I no longer do that. So I just do simple things, right? Because I'm not going to tap into things that I don't need to tap into and encumber myself with any sort of enemy that hides as an angel of light. So literally what you can do, and what I did, was to breathe in for 8. So in for 8 counts through the nostrils. So it's like that was in for 8 counts, hold for 8 counts, and out for 8 to 12 counts. And you do that repeatedly for about 5 minutes. But within about 5 repetitions of that, instead of not even all the way to 5 minutes, but about the 5th time you do that cycle, you're gonna feel calmer. You're gonna I started yawning like crazy. My body just switched over into being completely restful. So do that every time you feel agitated, like even in the morning, to bring down your cortisol levels, just to keep your blood pressure low. I also noticed the increased breathing, increased beating of the heart rather, when I started doing that. I could see that my heartbeat was elevated in those times as well. I became more sensitive to it once I was doing that breath work. So that's important to really help to calm the body down in a very natural way. And it also helps to kill the fight or flight adrenaline rush as well, of the stress. So just breathe in for 8 through the nostrils. Through the nostrils activates nitric acid. Nitric acid is important in terms of helping to lower the blood pressure and to get the body in a very healing state. And so those are the critical things that I did. And you drink these things. I also added a lot of ginger as well, fresh ginger as well as ginger teas. I also cut coffee immediately. Immediately cut coffee, immediately cut down salt, immediately went prostrate. So I only got up to use the bathroom and to probably prepare a tea or something. And then by Christmas, by New Year's, by January, I completely switched to ketovore. So that's like a hybrid between a ketogenic diet and a carnivore diet. So I eat mostly high fat, optimal protein, low carbohydrate, low to no carbohydrate, varying on what it is that I feel like. And I also intermittently fast. And I am doing that to build up my capacity to fast for longer periods. I used to fast for longer periods repeatedly, regularly, like I'm talking 7 to 10 days at a time, up to 40 days. I noticed in the last year or two, it's been harder for me to do even a 3 day fast, which is really strange. So I'm building up back my body's capacity to do that. I mean, when I did the fast, I was really sick. So I know that I have to restore some health more modestly before I can take on those fasts again. But I fast all the time for spiritual reasons as well as for health reasons. There's a reason why God wants us to turn down our plates from time to time, because the body actually heals when it goes into autophagy. And that's after around 17 hours of not eating food, your body gets a chance to rest. You also end up having much more clarity because things are just, gunk is just being cleared out of the system. And so longer fasts tend to be extremely healing for the body, for the mind, for the soul, and of course for the spirit. And when you fast, don't only fast, you also pray. Praying is a really great way to lower your blood pressure. When you're worrying about something, when something's on your mind, when you're ruminating on something, when you actually read the word, meditate on the word of God and pray, that also significantly helps to lower your blood pressure. So take it to God in prayer. Leave the crosses, the struggles, the cares of life, the issues of life that come to steal, to pluck out the word that God has planted, that He has come to give you life and give you life abundantly. The word that by His stripes you are healed. The enemy has come to pluck those things out, but you use that word to reignite your faith, because faith comes by hearing and hearing the word of God. And let this mind be in you that is Christ Jesus by just renewing your mind through the word. And those are the major things that I did. We're going to go through one by one in the shorts that I have been releasing, as I've said earlier, to show you the other little things, daily things. As my blood pressure dropped significantly, I started to do leisurely walks, nothing excess. Also did some isometric exercises. We'll go through the details of all of those things, just taking things easy, resting. And if I had to cancel something, I canceled something. If I had to if I for some reason we lost connectivity in this session, so we're just gonna pick up from the one before. So I'm talking about what I did to lower my blood pressure and lower it very quickly. And switching over to keto since the beginning of January has resulted in me losing, I think I am, how many pounds? Don't know. Let me look at the last check-in. But I've lost quite a bit. I've lost 12 pounds. 12 pounds. And That's 12 solid pounds. And that also helps to reduce your blood pressure because every pound, every few pounds you have increases your blood pressure like crazy. So bringing yourself to a healthy weight is also a good thing. All of these adjustments are not just temporary adjustments. The whole point is to reduce your blood pressure and to keep it managed without medication means that you will have to make lifestyle changes. This is why I didn't want to tell you everything one time because what I want to empower you to be able to do is to make adjustments, small adjustments that you repeat regularly that change your life fully. Some people who are on blood pressure medications have to be on one, two, or three medications and they still are not able to control it properly. And blood pressure medications are useful and needed in many cases. And consult your physician. I'm not a physician. I'm not pretending to be. I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm saying that these are the things that I have done to lower my blood pressure naturally without medication. And even if you are taking medication, there are things that you can apply in order to bring your blood pressure under control, reducing your blood, which could possibly result in either reducing your blood pressure or actually eliminating the need for blood pressure medication altogether. So, of course, during this time, you want to keep your blood pressure monitored very, very, very strictly. You want to also not use the wrist ones, use ones around the arm, the two ones with the stethoscope. And so you can actually hear and do it properly because that's important. So the stethoscope and the pumpy ones, yeah, those are the ones that you want to do around the upper arm. The the other thing that I did outside of the diet adjustment and the the uh, the diet adjustment as well as resting, those are the two critical things. And you want to continue because if you lower the blood pressure and then you switch back over, then the things that are going to happen that were happening before will come back. As well as I want you to understand if you have to be monitoring, managing your blood pressure through medication, that as much as you may be able to have normal levels in terms of the numbers, do not think that having normal numbers when you have to be on medication to control your blood pressure is an indicator of good health. The underlying problems are still there. The medication is simply changing the numbers to take you out of a very dangerous mode. So, taking a forest fire and kind of like, putting some sort of flame retardant on it, but it does not stop the smoldering, does not stop the wind, does not stop all of the other things that could be there, the conditions that will keep the fire burning. So you want to be able to make the adjustments necessary to eliminate the ill health, the cause of the ill health. Normal Western medicine these days is all about controlling symptoms, whereas what I want you to consider is going into a more holistic approach to going through the root of the problem. These things that I've been sharing allow you to go to the root of the problem. Taking deep breaths in, holding that breath for 8, in for 8, hold for 8, out for 8. Those things help to calm you down holistically. These are giving you tools and resources to help to deal with stress, because at the end of the day, stress is there. We are under stress for a whole bunch of different reasons, and we're just gonna have to learn how to use these tools, these strategies to be able to manage stress so that the stress does not overcome our bodies and take a toll on our health to the point where it is completely deleterious and devastating and destructive. So we want to be able to bring that down, to calm that down, to calm the body down, to calm down the sympathetic nervous system, so that parasympathetic nervous system, to activate that so that we can rest and relax and sleep. take a little bit more sleep. It's not easy, but let me tell you something. When you're dead, you're not going to be able to do it either if you're already gone. And if you end up having a stroke, people don't always recover well from strokes. It can go very, 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 very badly. So high blood pressure is not something to take lightly because it is, as they call it, a silent killer and indicative of the body being out of balance. So we want to reduce weight because weight puts pressure on the blood vessels, on the heart to pump more. We also want to be able to not build up plaque in our vessels. We also want to reduce our blood sugar because blood sugar and the metabolic resistance is also linked to high blood pressure. So all of these things are absolutely critical. You want to also lower your intake of another critical thing. If I didn't say, you need to cut out processed food immediately. Cut out processed food immediately. When I say processed food, I'm talking not only of processed food, but also foods that have not been prepared by yours, or somebody close to you. This is the place where you're gonna have to prepare your meals. Another reason why I like the keto carnivore thing is because I can do meal prep, and it's quite easy to not have to cook all the time and still have food that I know is gonna be healthy for me and allows my body to heal and recover. So cutting out prepackaged or processed food, pre-made food, or food made by others, food made in restaurants, I can guarantee you that you're going to be having high seed oils in processed food. You're also going to be having ridiculously high sodium levels in processed food. So anything that was not done from scratch, read the labels. I mean, like, and if it has to have a label, then something is wrong. What do you want to eat? Meat and vegetables, pretty much. Cut out sugar. And you're going to be able to lower your salt intake even if you add salt to the food that you cook, simply by cutting out processed food or prepackaged food or not eating out. So if you are in a state where your blood pressure is way too high, I just say that this is a season to not eat out. This is a season to eat in all the time, to make all your meals, and because here's what happens. Even the snacks that you can take on, everything has lots of salt in there. And a lot of them also have these seed oils. Seed oils are highly inflammatory. So what I've gone about doing is doing things that, for me to lower my blood pressure, I'm lowering my blood sugar. I'm also lowering anything that causes inflammation in my body, because inflammation is at the core of all chronic illnesses. Inflammation. So all of these things is cancer, the diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease. Core of all of these things is inflammation. Even Alzheimer's and dementia. Inflammation. So if you lower your inflammation, you're also going to increase your health. So I've been taking a lot of anti-inflammatory foods, like my sorrel tea and the recipes, of course, on my YouTube channel, as well as on the chefandsteward.com blog. Again, whatever recipe that you're gonna see, like that one on the blog and on YouTube, is sweetened with sugar, which is a traditional thing. Use stevia, and I will share with you in the next few days which stevia I actually use, so that you'll be able to get the best benefits from that as well, because not all of them are created equal. And I also put in mine lots of ginger, allspice, and cloves, which are also anti-inflammatory. I also take cinnamon and some other supplements, and I have more supplements even coming, because I didn't add all of the supplements in at a time. I went first to the ones that I usually take, and then I added the other ones, and I'm adding more and more and more, little by little, so that I can know what is what. Thanks for the thumbs up, and leave a comment. Let me see where you are, and if you have any questions, let me know. I'm using a new streaming tool, so I cannot actually I'm trying to figure. I just saw where the comments are. I think Yeah, so leave me comments and I'll be able to bring them up. And, it's just amazing to see that just making these adjustments allowed me. So one of the first things that I had was, yes, Jerry, yes, we need to cook more of our own food. Let us. I want to bring that up. I'm trying to figure how to bring up your comment, but Jerry says on Facebook, yes, we need to cook our own foods a bit more. So they adding it, and the convenience is there, and it's lovely. It's lovely to be convenient, but once it is that your blood pressure is so high you can't manage it, this is the time to be able to dial it back. And when you're on a vacation, you can have a splurge here and there, but you still have to. I don't want us to be comfortable with just being on chronic medication. Sorry, not medication. I don't want us to be comfortable managing these chronic things that can be healed with medication, because all of these medications are there to stop a fire, right? They want to put out a fire, but they're not. It's the smoldering is still going to continue underneath if you're not fixing the root of the problem. And so adding anti-inflammatory foods is important. Also creating an anti-inflammatory diet. One of the things that means that you're also removing inflammatory foods. One of the most inflammatory things that is now pervasive and in everything. First thing is sugar. Sugar is the most inflammatory thing. The second thing, which is like poison. Sugar feeds cancer, sugar feeds hyperinsulinity, and sugar causes all sorts of damage metabolically, including high blood pressure. But also another thing that is very inflammatory are the seed oils that we have been taught and told by the American seed oil industry are good for us, and that we should replace saturated fats that were made by God with these better fats, the seed fats, seed oil fats, things like canola oil, and sunflower oil, and all of those things, which are not really good for us at all. So, back in the day when your grandma would cook, and what did your grandma and your great grandma cook with? Your great grandma and your great great grandma did not cook, I guarantee you, with canola oil or grapeseed oil or sunflower oil or any of these seed oils. What your great grandma cooked with was butter, clarified butter or ghee, coconut oil, palm oil, which is also good for you, believe it or not, and so butter. But it's better for you than the seed oils. But the best oils are definitely tallow, lard. So tallow is a fat from the beef, from the cow. Lard is a fat from the pig, the oink oink, and chicken skin, the fat from the chicken. I think so. Even when your grandma was cooking, she would render those down and then she'd cook in that. Those fats are better. Coconut oil is better. That, and even if you have to use any non animal oil, use avocado oil, and also olive oil. Olive oil used only raw, so don't cook your olive oil. Jerry asked, what about avocado oil? Avocado oil in small doses. You want your fats to be and olive oil also in smaller doses, and not ever cooked. Only extra virgin olive oil and never cooked. Like on salads, on raw, on top of whatever, drizzled, whatever. So avocado oil, if you want to fry something, that you need a frying oil, a high smoke point oil that doesn't have a flavor, because you could also fry cooking coconut oil. So I would rather coconut oil over avocado, but avocado definitely is way safer than the regular seed oils of canola and so on and so forth and so forth. Again, use sparingly. So that means that you're not going to be eating fried foods all the time. Nothing is wrong with fat. But if you're going to fry food, can you fry the food in lard, in duck fat, in butter, sorry, clarified butter, in duck fat, in tallow, in chicken skin, chicken malts or schmaltz. I think the Jewish call it schmaltz, right? Tallow. Back in the day, fries were actually fried in beef tallow until this thing came about that, the tallow was not it was saturated and not good for you, and so they switched to seed oils. If you use beef tallow, you're actually better off. If God made it, it's good. If man made it, not so good. So that's where the oils are concerned. We want to eliminate, and a lot of and then of course there's hydrogenated fats and there's trans fats. You definitely want to stay away from. So you definitely want to limit your processed foods, your prepackaged foods that other people have. And let me tell you something, even in restaurants as well, a lot of restaurants don't do everything from scratch. Some of them actually just assemble prepackaged things. So if they're not cooking completely from scratch, of course the sodium level is going to be a lot higher. What I noticed when I moved from the Middle East, when I left Dubai and I came across to the Caribbean, and I'm now in Aruba, immediately my blood pressure went high. Why? Because there was so much sugar and salt in everything, like high levels. I was very sensitive to it. I could taste it. It was just like overwhelmingly horrid because I wasn't used to it. My system wasn't used to it, and even my palate wasn't used to it. So I tried to stay away as much as possible from foods made in America and preferred to go for things that were coming from Europe. And in Aruba, we do have a lot of like Dutch imports and so on, which are a lot healthier than a lot of the American processed stuff. American foods also include high fructose corn syrup, which is disastrous for the body. So you want to keep away from a lot of those things. The cereals, all those things, no. Rest, keep your blood sugar low. Garlic in the raw, and take that garlic. The garlic I took in the raw, I took it, let me tell you how many times, like 2-3 times a day. And that's a teaspoon of it. The video is on my Instagram, it's on my YouTube as well, and on my TikTok. And I think I need to post it to Facebook. But I chopped up garlic and first I did it in honey because that's how I used to do it. And that's how I give my son when he's sick. But more honey than garlic, with honey and ginger and stuff like that. But this time I got this from my friend Jalisa, who is from Mac Property. She's a realtor in Texas. So you hook Jalisa up from Mac Property Group if you want to buy property in the States or in the Caribbean. She also sells property in Dubai and beyond. So, and also real estate property. So she was telling me that doing it in the olive oil, which is something that she got from an Ayurvedic doctor in Dubai, because we were both living in Dubai together, that's how we met, was actually better because we wouldn't impact our blood sugar by having the extra virgin olive oil as the base. I will say to you that it's easier to swallow the one with the honey, but it's better to swallow the one with the extra virgin olive oil. Garlic is really good at lowering your blood pressure. So here in this thing, I have my sorrel. Jerry, I think I'm going to make sorrel for your group when you come. Or another drink. There's another drink as well that Jalisa told me about. So I'm either going to make sorrel or another drink that is going to lower your blood pressure, because Jerry's going to come for my cooking class this week. So I'm looking forward to meeting Jerry in person. And we're going to have a drink that will also help with lowering the blood pressure. So this, what I'm having here, is sorrel with ginger and allspice and cloves, and I'm sweetening it with stevia. And I sip on this. So this is like 2 to 3 cups a day. Maybe I have more like 6 cups a day sometimes. You have to be careful with how much you drink, because some people are sensitive to it, and you can actually have some sort of reflux if you drink too much for so it's you have to watch it and see what happens. But it is good for lowering your blood pressure, as well as a ginger. Man, ginger is anti-inflammatory, and it's an antioxidant, and it's an antiviral, and it's a whole heap of things. So you're just increasing your overall health. And what's going to happen is that as you put your body in this healing state, it's just going to want to do more. You're going to have more energy. You're going to want to go for a walk. You're going to know that this is a good day. You have more energy to do stuff around the house. So you're going to increase your activity. And you're also going to be a little bit slower to anger, a little bit slower to wrath, a little bit slower to being really because you're not always this tense and tightened because of all the stress. It's just gonna be a little bit more manageable. And guess what? I've discovered some really great supplements when it comes to that. I also encourage you to take CoQ10. That's a good one. So for the heart and for mitochondria, it's really good. And there's more to come. So I'm not gonna keep you much longer. If you have any questions, let me know. It has been a good chat. If you've missed out the first half of this one, you can go back because I got disconnected in the live. I don't know what happened, but we got disconnected and we're back on. But if you missed out the first half of this, because I'm not quite certain, I think it might be coming in two parts because we had got disconnected. But if it isn't in two parts, then that's good. But if it is in two parts and you missed out and you're coming to this one, be sure to go to the first part to see the beginning. So I ended up losing 12 pounds so far since the beginning of the year because of the adjustments that I've made, and I have lowered my blood pressure. When I started out, I was having, when I say headaches, I mean headaches that were unbearable. Like go to sleep with a headache, wake up with a worse headache, blurry vision, swollen feet, textbook symptoms of ridiculously high blood pressure, in addition to which my blood pressure went to 195 over 115, stroke level on both numbers. Not good. There is some debate about what is healthy blood pressure, because traditionally it used to be 140 over 90 or your age, like 100 plus your age. So if you're 40 years old, it should be 140 over 90. But there is this thing, since people started to come up with the blood pressure medicines, then they want everybody to have 120 over 80. That's the new norm. But hey, my one was not even 140 over 90, right? It was nowhere near. So this is why I had to do lots of things drastically to get it down really quickly. And why you should take it very seriously is because managing it with only blood pressure with only blood pressure medication creates a false illusion of health, which you don't want. And in addition to which, statins and other medications have other side effects long term. Remember, you're gonna have to take those medications every day for years. They have side effects long term, serious side effects as well. Some of them are linked to even things like dementia. So I'm not saying don't take your medication, but I'm saying if you've been prescribed medication, understand that, treat it like a stopgap. Treat it like just throwing out the fire right now. But understand that you're going to have to go to where the source of the fire is and put that ish out for good. Put it to bed. Finally and completely, right? Because relying on medication alone to manage chronic illnesses is not gonna be your best bet. We want to increase the quality of our lives. We want to heal. We want to be restored. And food is good. And one of the first things I wrote when I started my Chef and Steward blog, 15 years ago, maybe 16 by now, I can't even keep up. Food is medicine. Food is medicine, but that does not mean that it ought to taste like it. So one of the things that I really love to do is to help you use food to heal your body, in addition to all the other things that God has made readily available at our fingertips, including knowledge, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And all you're getting, get wisdom, get understanding, get knowledge, because what you know will help you and what you don't know will harm you. So that's why we're here, to feed you physically, to feed your body, your soul, your spirit, and your pocket, and to free you. So I feed you and I free you, right? So let this be. Who wants to walk with me through this? Not only to just lower blood pressure, but to bring our bodies into health, into homeostasis, because the body always wants to come back to homeostasis. Let's be an ally to our bodies rather than a foe. Let's work with our bodies to help our bodies heal and engage in that way. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you. Thank you for all the comments and thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for those who are joining on Facebook as well as those who are joining on YouTube. And I will be more readily, I'll make myself more readily available. For those of you who want to know how to engage me, you can see links in the description box. You can also book to work with me. You can also book to learn how to do healthy meal prep. I'm going to do some live courses on those as well. And again, I tend to link towards the keto carnivore diet, which is high protein, high fat, not high protein, high fat, optimal protein, and lower carb, lower to no carb, because those are completely rejuvenative. There's some people who will go the route or the vegan route to stop things as well. So either keto or carnivore are good elimination diets to bring the body into healing, but carnivore is a lot more sustainable than veganism, especially long term for your hormones, especially as women. After a while, these things add up. So I've seen a lot of people coming off veganism and going into carnivore. It's not extreme as you think it is. People who are vegan tend to be Hindus, and it's for their religious reasons. So if you don't have that religious reason, then, I'd rather be healthy. So thank you for joining. Again, I'm Kari Heron. Check in the description box as to how you may engage me, how you may work with me, and also follow here, subscribe, and please share, because the more you share, you could be sharing and you could be saving a life of someone you know and love. Knowledge is power. Let's share it. Let's share it. I got into media because I understood the power of information. And my aim is to help to disseminate information that will feed you and free you. So until next time, walk good and good eats. I'm Kari and signing out. Ayo, as we say in Aruba, or goodbye. And I need to figure out how to end this thing on this new streaming podcast. If you've got questions, now is the time to give me before I log off and shut down. And going in 1, in 2, in 3. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.